Now this is good, but how can we make it better? Oh, phew! I thought I'd actually have a good time making this video, but of course not. Okay, well, I'm kidding. To an extent. For a while, I've had Black Ops 2 and Ghosts on my Wii U, and have wanted to try them out, but never had a chance until now where I decided to make this video as an excuse to play them. And I couldn't just play them normally using the gamepad or with a Pro Controller. No, I of course had to use the motion controls. I mean, come on, it's the Wii U, why not? And after doing so, I do not understand how anybody played this way. I'm sure most played with the gamepad, but for the few that I can assume used the Wii remote, come on, man. Do we need to have a talk, because why do you hate yourself? Like, yeah. Now, the Wii U released on November 18th, 2012, and followed in the Wii's footsteps of releasing the yearly Call of Duty games for like 2 years. While the Wii got World at War, Modern Warfare, Black Ops, and Modern Warfare 3, the Wii U got Black Ops 2, Ghosts, and that's it. I'm assuming this is due to the Wii U versions not getting very good sales. I mean, the console itself didn't get good sales, and it was mostly targeted to kids anyways, so it wasn't a target market for the Call of Duty series, but the two that were released are kind of a cool novelty. While neither of them got DLC released for them, the base games are pretty much fully intact with just slightly worse graphics and the addition of the Wii U's controls with the Wii Remote and gamepad accessibility. These new control options were pretty much the biggest difference between this version of the game compared to the other consoles and PC. Other than the graphics, of course, which, I mean, yeah, just look at the screen. It's not really made for the Wii U. It's just scaled down a bit. But with the new gamepad controls, it allows you to play two-player local co-op on separate screens, or just fully play the game on the gamepad by yourself, which is pretty much how I played a lot of the time while I wasn't using motion controls. It's actually very convenient. But if you were playing solo on the TV, you could actually use the gamepad's touchscreen to control through the menus and settings, and also call in score streaks if you were playing multiplayer. But almost a year ago, the Wii U's online functionality was shut down, so I couldn't actually play it online for this video. As if anybody would have been playing on the Wii U in the first place. So the footage on screen is just from custom games, but what if the gamepad or Pro Controller wasn't your style, and you wanted to make the game feel like those arcade shooters you find in like a movie theater or something? Well, you couldn't do that, but the closest thing to it is using the Wii Remote and Nunchuck, which I feel makes this version of the game perfectly valid, because even though I had a hard time controlling the game, it was kind of fun. I also have to say, when I compare the Wii U version to the other versions of the game, just assume I'm strictly talking about the launch version of the game, just so I can make any comparisons actually fair. Now, the first Call of Duty to release on the Wii U was Call of Duty Black Ops 2, which is considered to be one of the best in the series, if not the actual best. It featured a stellar campaign with multiple endings, a fan-favorite multiplayer mode that to some is tied with Modern Warfare 2 to be the best in the series, and lastly, a zombies mode, which is one of the things that makes Treyarch's Black Ops games stand out, which I feel is actually enhanced on the Wii U, but I'll get to that later when I talk more about zombies. I'm going to be starting off by talking about Black Ops 2's multiplayer. It's pretty much what you expect when playing with the gamepad. It's just typical controller gameplay, except a little less smooth. This version of the game doesn't look that great graphically, and doesn't actually run the best either. It stutters quite a lot, and the lower resolution of the Wii U makes everything seem a lot more pixelated than the other versions, but other than that, it's what you expect. The things that make it unique are pretty small. The first thing is having the score streaks on the gamepad. Doesn't make a huge difference. Instead of touching the D-pad, you just tap the screen, but hey, you're tapping a cool little icon, so that's a big enough difference, right? The other exclusive features are the motion controls, and holy fuck, I hate them here. I mentioned it briefly in the beginning of the video, but I do not like using the Wii Remote for the multiplayer, especially using the zapper. If you ever played this version of the game, do not bother using this shit. It's made for more on-rail shooters, and I didn't realize that when I bought it, but hey, I guess I have a Wii Zapper now, so that's cool, right? Playing with the motion controls with just the Wii Remote and Nunchuck is kind of doable, but at least for me, I had to sit pretty far back for it to work decently, and even then, it was very hard to use. Maybe if I played for longer and messed around with the settings more, I could kind of get a hang of it, but for the amount I played for this video's footage, I could not whatsoever. I mean, you're literally watching it. I have no idea what I'm doing, but it's not terrible, even though I may hate it. In a way, playing on hijacked Black Ops 2 and being able to point and aim is kinda cool, and if the Nintendo Switch 2 does actually get Call of Duty on it like it's leaked to. I hope they bring this feature back. My main problem isn't mainly with the motion controls, but more because of how the Wii Remote is laid out. The buttons you need to press to sprint, reload, jump, etc. are placed very awkwardly, and even changing my controls didn't help at all. I just feel that playing this would be more fun against other players using motion controls, just knowing they're in the same situation as I am, but I'm stuck playing with the easiest bots and still getting my ass handed to me. So eventually, I decided to get off multiplayer and try out the mode that I actually buy Call of Duties for, and that's the Zombies mode.
Zombies.
Now this is where I wish the game received DLC, because this is all I'm stuck with playing and it makes me sad. I could only imagine there's another universe out there where I was able to play Origins on the Nintendo Wii U, building all 4 staffs while the game runs at a solid 14 frames per second, and I can't get past round 4 due to the motion controls. But no, instead, I'm stuck here in this universe, trapped to play Transit at 14 frames per second, still with the problem of dying at round 4. I just wish I was able to do this on any other Black Ops 2 map. Wait, no, I don't mean that. Earlier on, I mentioned that the Zombies mode, in my opinion, is enhanced on the Wii U, and that's sorta, kinda maybe true. What I meant by that is due to the motion controls, I feel that it can immerse the player more into the gameplay and can make it a little bit more scary to play. This is due to the motion aiming not being the best, and to an extent, being a handicap to the player, even though the aim assist is cranked all the way up. I feel like this makes the mode more intense, at least for me, and I don't know what it is, but I felt like the game helped the player more in this version. I might be going completely insane, but playing the game in this way, I felt as though the game dropped more power-ups and was a bit easier to make up for the controls, at least compared to other versions of this game. And the other main difference I could notice was, again, the graphics. It seemed as though the map was a little bit more dim and ugly looking, even compared to Transit standards, but other than that, it's Black Ops 2 Zombies as you know it, even with all of the survival maps along with Grief. So if these maps and modes were your cup of tea, then this is probably the best version of the game for you out there, because it doesn't take anything away other than downgraded graphics, but at the same time, adds a fun way to play. Now if we go ahead and look at the other game, I don't have quite as much good things to say about it. Call of Duty Ghosts was released on November 5th, 2013, and was the second, as well as the last COD game to be released on a Nintendo console to this day. Yeah, they really left us with a banger, huh? Now, when comparing this version of the game to its counterparts, it's pretty much the same amount of differences as Black Ops 2. The only noticeable thing with Ghosts is that it's optimized even worse. I know I made fun of Black Ops 2 a bit for not looking great and not running great, but Call of Duty Ghosts runs like actual shit from a butt on the Wii U. And for a game like this, it doesn't really help its case. Unlike Black Ops 2, I actually got some campaign footage from Ghosts, and I think it speaks for itself.
Let's just get to the house, make sure nothing got damaged. Give me a hand with the unload. Holding main, repeat contact.
Yeah, it kind of made me giggle, not gonna lie. You see, I actually like this version of the Ghosts campaign better, because instead of it just being plain old boring, it's now boring, but it also runs like shit and has a bad control scheme, so it makes it kind of funny to play. Now, I know a lot of you out there remember COD Ghosts campaign as being one of the greats, and so did I, but please, I'm begging you, please go back and play it. You will realize how mistaken you are. All you remember is that cool-ass ending and a couple of cool sequences. Other than that, it really just isn't all that, I'm sorry to say. And on the Wii U, I just couldn't even get past the first mission. And that's not because it didn't work, I just wanted to unlock Extinction. But it also didn't play well at all. I mean, you're saying for yourself, it's really poorly optimized for this console. And I didn't want to put myself through all of that. So instead, I hopped into custom games and put myself through hell with multiplayer bots, just like with Black Ops 2. You can't play online due to there not being any servers anymore, so again, I had to make do. And all I can say is that the bots in this version are actually just on crack. I tried to play with the motion controls and learn, but I don't know what it was, they just felt ever so slightly different than Black Ops 2's. and the bots also felt 10 times harder, even though they stayed on the easiest difficulty. But I do have to say, I did enjoy Ghost multiplayer to an extent when it released. I didn't play much of it, and I don't think it felt like COD, but at the same time it was decently fun. If it was the same game but a different company making it, I feel like people would have enjoyed it more as a more realistic shooter, because it was a weird change from COD's arcade-like gameplay at the time, especially with a map like Stonehaven. It's hard for me to really get a good, look at the multiplayer, because just like with Black Ops 2, I can't play with other people, so it's not that authentic of an experience going against other people with terrible aim. But you know what I could get an authentic experience from? Extinction. And yeah, it's Extinction. Now you might sit there and think I'm gonna say this is the better version because of the motion controls enhancing the experience, making it scarier, and you would be wrong. Unlike Black Ops 2 Zombies, Ghost's Extinction mode just isn't all that. I do like this mode when playing on other versions, but it just doesn't do it for me on the Wii U. The map doesn't look terrible compared to the other versions, and I think that actually hurts it because it doesn't add anything special. So instead, we get a map that doesn't look too good, but also doesn't run very well either. And it's not as dark and gloomy as Transit, so even with the bad motion controls, it's not as scary, but instead just annoying to control. Like, bro, I'm just trying to do this challenge, bro. Please let me, bro, please. Fucking fuck! I mean, I guess you can use the gamepad or Pro Controller, but come on. These are sitting right here, you gotta use them. It's part of the experience. And while I guess I could play this version of the game over the 360 and PS3 version, I would rather play the PS4, Xbox One, or PC version of Ghosts over the Wii U any day. But I guess overall, I'd rather play anything else over Ghosts as well in general. In the making of this video, I spent a solid like $50 that I will never get back on some mediocre Wii U games and a big piece of plastic, and I did have some fun. Both Call of Duties on the Wii U were not the worst experience in the world. I had a decent time with both of them, mainly just thinking about how cool the motion controls were at first, but they did get old really fast. This couldn't be my main way of playing a game like this ever, but it is definitely a cool novelty that I'm glad they made, and I just wish they made it a little bit longer, at least finishing the couple of Call of Duty games that were on the 360 and PS3. Imagine how cool it would have been playing Advanced Warfare and Black Ops 3 on the Wii U. Especially with the terrible 360 version of Black Ops 3 that already exists. Man, that shit would have been way better if it released on the Wii U, with motion controls and all. But I'm sure the jetpacks in those games just wouldn't have worked well with the motion controls. I just wish I could have been able to play some whack-ass version of Shadows of Evil. I could only imagine.